Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another series of PIP, People in Property. Today, I'm very excited to have expanded my network and met some really lovely chaps on Instagram. We've got James and Ant from EVO Homes. So today, we'll sort of be discussing what these guys do, how they got into property, and how their journey's really going. How are you guys? Thank you for coming down.
All good. Thanks for having us.
And nice and connected. So you guys have come down from Sussex, if I'm not mistaken. So if you briefly tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you sort of do day to day, one by one, and then we can talk about how you sort of got into property as such.
Yeah, so we've been doing property development and investment for about 10 years now. But key thing to call out is it's always been alongside other full-time work. So we're kind of like property side hustlers. We think of ourselves like that. And the reason we've done it that way is because we've always had to rely on our salaries to be able to fund the property projects that we're doing, right? So me personally, outside of property, like fairly traditional corporate route, university, worked for a couple of big corporate companies. Expedia, they're like a travel company. I did like product management for them. I worked there for 7 years, and then last couple of years, I've gone more into the world of startup. I work for a fintech company. I work for a marketing tech company now. So yeah, try my hat at something.
How are you finding the changeover from being at Expedia going to the fintech?
To be honest, it was welcome. It was good. It was like came at the right time for me. Expedia had become, I got in, I was there for 7 years, so it's still kind of like a high growth. I was working for hotels.com, which were one of the brands, and I loved it, like the high growth era, like really good culture. And it became very like big corporate by the end. So I was at that time where I was like, look, I'm ready to like try and help with the skills I've developed here. It's been a great learning curve. Help something get off the ground, and that's where I wanted to get.
Nice. And it's been good for you. You've enjoyed it.
Really enjoyed it so far. Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Good. And it helps you sort of get out your shell when you do different things as well, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. In a big company, you're quite like, I did product management. That's what I did. I was a product manager. I had a people manager of product managers. But when I came into the latest startup I worked for, it's called Penny Black. It was like me and the CEO. I was the first hire. Like the first day, we were looking around London, trying to find offices. Brilliant. Going and getting your laptop, and then it's like, try my hand at like a bit of operations, then a bit of business development, bit of market, everything. And we built the team up to 12 people now. And it's growing in the right.
Brilliant. And was you doing property already when you was at those two companies?
Yeah, we've been to come on to that, but we've been doing property ultimately. Yeah, for the last 10 years. So always we've had this kind of two streams, and that's the way we've done it. We've had our thing, our property thing, and then we've had our other lives, our day jobs.
Sounds brilliant. How about you, Ant? What's your background?
Yeah, slightly different to James' career path. I didn't go to university.
A bit like me.
Yeah, trained as a plumber when I left school, and then did various roles around construction. Ended up working in a business that I ended up taking over, which I still run now.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I was around like developers, landlords, builders, architects, all of that from quite an early point. So when James and I were discussing getting into property, it felt quite natural for me. Yeah.
And how has that journey been for you? Sort of, because you're already in sort of like the building trade, so you've already got the skill set as such when to apply to the property side of things. So the transition maybe hasn't been as different for you as it has been for James.
Yeah, I think I had a specific knowledge about plumbing, but there's a lot to it. So I kind of had an idea of, what things cost and how long they might take and the process. But yeah, I didn't know how to use tools. James didn't know how to use tools, but I think we've kind of picked that was quite specific to plumbing, but there's so much to property. Like I think we picked it up together.
Definitely. You can obviously work to your strengths as such as well. Yeah. How did you both actually meet?
So
I moved to Horsham when I was about. James has always lived in Horsham. I moved there from Surrey when I was about 18. And I think we just met at the pub.
They just got hit in the pub, always the way. Nice. So you sort of growing over the last sort of 10 years. When you first initially came into property and started doing bits together, what before we start asking what did you first do, what has your sort of vision been? Where have you sort of wanted to get to? What is your sort of dream end goal, if you like?
I would certainly say that the end goal's always been to have something that we can do full time, and it self-sustains us as people, and it's something we can grow, build a portfolio that cash flows for us, and accelerates our life and our experience. But yeah, we've gone down a kind of stages to get there. And as I said earlier, we started off doing like local flip projects, because that's all we kind of knew
in the Horsham area. So tell us about your first project. How did that go? Because the first ones would always come into like hurdles and stuff, isn't it?
I think we moved in together and we were renting a place in our early 20s, and then the landlord was selling the property, so we had to move out. And I think at that point we just said let's buy somewhere. We started looking for places that were like run down in the local area.
Smart move.
James saw one that was, I think it was on the market. We wanted it, but it had gone to someone else, and then it came back on. And managed to negotiate a little bit off the asking price, and took it on. I think we had to move back in with my parents for like the first few months to like get the work done, but we were quite hands on with it. And then we lived there for a few years. And
so was you living there and doing the works at the same time, or do you live at your parents, do all of the works and then move in? How did it sort of work?
Half and half. Yeah, we kind of got it good enough so we could move into it. We were pretty excited.
Had enough of baby and back at home, so like let's get in there. We can finish it while we're in.
The first one was very much to like beg, borrow, and steal to get it over the line. Right, we had like just enough to buy the house and probably get about 50% of the refurb done with us doing 75%. Well, most of the work.
Who's on the tools?
On the tools, so it would be working week, working 9 to 5, Monday, Friday, Saturday morning from all day Saturday, and then sometimes Sunday, depending on whether we went out on Saturday.
But you made the sacrifices, which has sort of built your sort of mentality and your structure today. So you know what it takes to get to where you need to be, and you've implemented it along the way. So that's good. So your first one was you moved it together, moved in with your parents for a while, did the flip. Have you still retained that property, or did you sell that?
We sold it. The next step from there, which is actually probably one of the not mistakes, because it was actually financially quite a good move, but we basically, so taking a step back, I went to University of Southampton.
Whilst you had bought this property?
No, this was, so when I was going
back, okay.
Back to when I was at university, when I was like 19, 20. I got one of the inspiration for me getting into property was a HMO landlord. Right. So we rented one of his properties, and he was probably about our age now, and he like took us, we were a young group of lads looking for a house. He took us out for a drink, spoke, and you're like an impressionable young man. He spoke so passionately about property. And we took one of his houses, and I was sat in my bedroom there, and I was like, this guy's taking, I knew how much rent he was getting because he'd done a title split. We had 5 people in the bottom and he had 2 people in the flat above, so he's taking about $3,000 in revenue a month. And I looked,
you like the sound of that?
Looked up, the house prices were like 150, 170 grand in that area of Southampton. Before kind of planted the seed. And that's why after we did our first project, we refinanced it, took all the flip profit out, and we went and bought an HMO in Southampton. But that was
for the student market specifically. So you had your niche. Your niche was let's go to target your students. You know the area. You went to university. Did you did go to university?
Bit when he was starting it.
You bet you were like an honorary. Like.
Yeah, I didn't go to any of the classes.
That's all right. He was there for the party, and that's fine. So you bought that HMO. Now, was it a HMO when you bought it, or did you buy a house and they convert it yourselves?
It was already a HMO, but I think it was licensed for 4.
Okay.
We got the license increased for 5,
which put the property,
which is quite good because that put the property price up straight away.
Brilliant.
And then we decided to sublet it to a foreign company that did like foreign students,
Chinese company,
and they'd pay us a whole year up front, and then they'd sublet it. So that was quite a good arrangement for the first year. But it kind of went wrong after that because they didn't look after the property. We'd kind of taken our eye off it.
Because you had your money. You thought, I've had my money now, sort of thing.
Far from home as well. It was like an hour and 45 minutes to get there. So we got to the next year when they were going to renew. They signed a contract, but then they tried to back out of it last minute and said, we can't re-let it because the students we've already got in here have like wrecked the place.
And did you have a deposit from them, or you didn't take one?
They I think we're trying to remember.
We got like a month or something.
I think they paid to have it all professionally cleaned in the end, but ultimately it left us with no tenants outside of term time. And we'd taken on another next flip project by that point. And basically the whole problem with this HMO is that we just locked up too much.
Most of our cash was in this place.
We hadn't done, like you said, we hadn't done like the BRR model, like, you know, the refurb, refinance. We kind of like, we'd done a few little bits to get it up to a 5 license, like put it.
Yeah. So when you say you added the extra sort of value, but adding the extra person to the license, did you add another room, or did you just increase it so you can have a couple, like 2 people in 1 room type thing?
We basically, it had 5 bedrooms,
right,
but it only had a license to have 4 people in it. So we basically just applied to have a license, increased to 5, and then they came around and they said, okay, you've got to, like, you know, put an extra fire door in here. So we just did that small amount of work. We upgraded a few little bits here and there, but in hindsight, rather than, we ultimately sold it after a couple of years, but we could have probably done the, like, let's refurb it, get it to more of a luxury HMO, then refinance it. And if we did that, if we didn't know about like BRR and other strategies then, this was back in like 2016. So I think we just ended up saying, look, let's just sell it. It's been good for the 2 years. The property price has gone up a bit and we've made some good revenue. Let's take the money and carry on our journey of doing flips locally.
So you live and you learn, really. At the end of the day, it was sort of a bit of a lesson for you guys, and now you won't make that same mistake again. But also, when it comes to like the HMO side of things, it might not have been such a bad thing that you didn't do it to a luxury standard, because you could have thrown more money at it. Got students in there again that didn't respect the place, because some students don't. Let's be honest, they go in there, treat it, you know, and they trash the place and treat it in their parties every night.
I've seen some outrageous ones.
I'm sure you was involved in them, mate. But no, so maybe it wasn't such a bad idea. And obviously, like you said, you made money out of it. All right, you might have had a void period and had to throw some more money at it to make it good before you can then re-let it. But it was good to you for a couple of years. Yeah. You made some more money, and then you offloaded that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we did another. Then basically,
so the pot grew. So from the first one, you had a bit more money. You bought that one. Now it went a bit more.
And then that flip project that we were on, what we started doing is we started doing like bigger flips. So the first flip was like a bit of structural changes, you know, all the cosmetics.
Not Victoria's semi terrace kind of thing.
Okay.
I think it's semi.
Yeah, semi. Yeah.
And then the next one was like, we've got a place that's got a bit of space on the side. Let's extend out over the garage, add an extra bedroom, add extra space downstairs. So
brilliant.
We were climbing up the
ladder. Extensions, rear extensions.
That one we did like a double story to add the extra space upstairs and downstairs. Brilliant. And then we were growing. The flip after that is the one that really kind of like...
Yeah, that was a big one.
The big one for us. So we found a detached house. This was at the end of 2019.
Okay.
That was on a quite a decent sized plot. And that was like an opportunity to really make...
So with that one, did you end up chopping it up into flats, or did you keep it as a house and just add some serious value to it?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that project.
I mean, we can probably talk to the finances of it a bit. So we bought it for roughly 450, was it?
Yeah, I think it was slightly less than that. But yeah, about 2.
In Horsham.
Yeah, in Horsham.
Yeah. Okay.
And we spent about like 140 on the refurb. So this was in lockdown. It's worth saying actually is that the brand EVO Homes started on this flip.
Okay.
So we'd done those few projects
by yourselves in your own names and stuff. Yeah.
And then this is the time that we were like, COVID hit. We just completed on the house in March 2020, so we were like, shit, sorry, excuse me.
That's all right. These things happen. That was a bit of a shit time.
So we were like, what's going to happen to the property market? We're going to have this, you know, all this in our hands. What's going to happen? Fortunately, actually, the market completely went the other way.
It went up. We didn't know that at the time, though.
You know, it was a blessing in disguise, to be honest. Not a blessing in disguise. It was a bad time for everyone. You know, people lost relatives and stuff like that. But it's funny you say that, because the property market at first, when they locked everyone down and shut everything down, and then no one could do viewings and this and that, and then sort of the ball, you know, the ball changed. The game changed completely, like within 3 weeks. Because I was in a position actually where I was buying somewhere as well. I bought a little 1-bedroom flat in lockdown. I was actually due to complete, and then we got locked down. And I was like, right, I'm going to negotiate hard. I'm going to play hardball now, because I'm happy to buy it, but not at the price. Because if we're not able to do viewings, not able to move anybody in, I'm going to be paying out of my pocket. What if my income's not going to subsidize it? So I just basically went and I basically lowballed it 35 grand. And they accepted. Funny enough, it was a probate, which I found out last minute. And it was some people overseas that were getting the money. And it was from They wanted, and there was 3 of them, so it wasn't like one person's taking a 35 grand hit, because one person to take that kind of hit is big money. When there's 3 of them split between the 3, it was like just over 10 grand each they were taking the hit on, and for them it was like money they didn't have. They wanted the money, they needed the money, and apparently there was that property had already fallen through before. So
they were desperate.
Which I didn't know. And it just worked out in my favour. And in the end, we completed. And then just as I completed, 2 weeks later, I was like, Boris was on the old TV saying, "Oh, estate agents could go back to work now and you can do your viewings." We were just doing video viewings, to be honest. So many people didn't want to still come out. So we was going doing the videos, and I basically bought it. I needed to decorate it, but then in the end, we've got this company that we sort of work closely with, who sort of look after vulnerable children and do like supported living, and it was a perfect unit for them. And I said, "Look, like, I need a lick of paint," and they was like, "Look, don't worry." I said, I've already bought the paint." They just took it themselves, gave it a lick of paint, spruced it up themselves. But they started the tenancy agreement on the day that I handed the keys. So I was like, I bought it 2 weeks later. Someone's in there. I was like, this couldn't have worked out better. So I saved the 35 grand. Yeah. They took on it wasn't a full refurb, but just literally like sprucing up, white paint everywhere, new lino in the kitchen sort of area. I did all the safety certificates and all of that, and they've been in there since, to be honest with you, with no complaints. So we've been there for nearly 3 years now. So that was pretty good. But back to your guys' one, that obviously you bought that in the COVID. You sort of shook your pants a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like you said, COVID was like brutal time for a lot of people. But for us, like, fortunately, it meant that we had like a bit of an outlay. Like, we had somewhere we could go at the weekends. We got like, but we didn't think we were going to do as much ourselves, did we?
We were planning on just paying other people to do all the work. But then we had all this like time.
It wasn't a work, right? Yeah.
You couldn't really get, you weren't allowed to get trades around. So we were like, it was basically us two and his dad's just in there every weekend.
And that was a necessary journey for you to make, because obviously you're using money, so you've got to go there and do your work.
Yeah, just had to get it done. Like, we were committed, we'd completed, we just had to go for it.
The lender's not going to say, "Oh, we'll give you a pause on your..." Well, they did say they'll give it like a break, but what people didn't realise with this mortgage break was it affects your credit, and it affects future lending. So yeah, we'll give them a break, we'll add it on to your next payments, don't worry. But they don't tell people, if you take this break, when it comes to refinancing, you're going to have a little black mark against your name, and it's going to affect you. Sorry to have cut you off there, mate.
Fortunately didn't go. I don't know why we did. We didn't really. We were just sort of more focused on getting the work done.
Just get the job done.
We got a cool thing to call out. You reminded me when you said about doing like digital viewings. We got planning permission through on it without them ever coming out and doing a site visit. So they did. We got planning permission by just us taking photos. Them going, "Oh, can you take one of the side?" And you're you're making it look. Look at the size of the space of like a wide angle shot. But yeah, they
got the fisheye lens out. Yeah,
that got through, and that's where EVO Homes started as a way of, we were like, well, let's document it, showcase, and
Well, by the way, guys, we'll tag all of the information for EVO Homes and their personal pages, if they have personal pages, I'm not sure, in the description below, so you can always follow their journey. Obviously, we'll have our shorts as well, so catch us on Instagram. We'll be collaborating with them on there, so it'll be on our page and on their page. Give the guys a follow. So if you're ever down the Horsham area or looking to do projects down there, reach out to them. They'll give you some tips and stuff. But back to this development that you did, I really want to know a bit more about what you did to the actual property. So was it a 3 or a 4 bed?
It was a 3.
3 when we bought it, like detached. It was
just a 2-story detached 3-bedroom house. Yeah,
it's quite attractive. It was like a 1920s farmhouse kind of feel. It's quite attractive, but it hadn't really had any work done it since it was built. All like original stuff.
But the same family must have lived there for
pretty much. Yeah, I think the lady was in the 90s. Yeah, so she was going into a home or something. So
was it probate?
It wasn't. She was just getting too old for the house.
Fair enough.
Into a care.
Mentioned next door it had the.
Yeah, because when we saw the property, we could see that next door had already done this like massive.
This was essential already.
They had the plans, so
so we took the plans as well. So it's kind of,
that's a touch. People a bit touchy with that. So I say, I don't want to give you the plans and keeping it.
No, we managed to keep those neighbours on side.
Just about.
And then, all through the lockdowns, we were just basically doing the refurb. And
did you keep it as a 3-bed, or did you do extension?
4/5?
Yeah.
Had a bedroom downstairs with an ensuite as well.
Nice.
But yeah, we spent like, just to come back to, so yeah, we spent about 140 overall.
140 on it.
But we did the project as if that we thought like the house was probably going to be worth about 700 to 750 at the end, and it ended up going for 850 in that crazy market.
Brilliant. That is brilliant.
Gone for like one day. They just did like an open day.
Yeah, it was mental.
A Saturday, 2 days later, we had like one offer for 820 and then another one.
So roughly about a 300 grand profit margin, roughly.
250.
Yeah, we actually we were heavily we heavily leveraged ourselves with private investors, from just family and
basically Godfather and stuff.
And you offered them a percentage return on their money.
We gave them a massive percentage return on that.
If you don't mind me asking, what kind of percentage?
It was like 38%.
Oh wow, that is massive. They're not getting that anywhere.
We put the bulk we put the bulk of the finance in, so they weren't investing like huge amounts. But I think there's two reasons behind it. Like, if you feel free.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was we were kind of a bit unproven taking other people's money,
right?
So we kind of wanted to make it quite attractive to them, so they'd do it
again.
And yeah, so I think
you enticed them in with the big margin, basically.
You lend us this, you'll get this back.
And now it's more like 1% a month we're doing in the more.
So you're basically doing like a bridging loan with them as such, but you haven't got the breathing down your neck. Are they breathing down your neck?
Not for the money, but they like to kind of come and tell you what colour you should paint the wall, whether a door's on straight and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah,
they're trying to be hands-on when all they're there for is like to be a silent investor, really.
Yeah, just got to keep people, keep the relationships going, keep people on board, and ultimately like prove that you're doing something good that can make them a bit of cash.
And you're going to deliver, right?
But now they come to us. Have you got anything you're working on that we can put money in?
Have you reduced? You've just done 1% now. Yes, you're not doing the 38% anymore. You reduce your
So yeah, we'll do we'll do rough. If we borrow for a year, we're basically giving them like between 10 and 15%.
That's good. That's fair. That's fair. That's very fair. And you're proven now as well. So at the end of the day, they they've seen what you've done before. And they can see what the end product and the end goal is, and then you're not just going to take the money and just go on holiday to Thailand or something, spunk it and come back. Got
to prove yourself, earn your stripes. But that's ultimately where EVO Homes is short for evolving homes. By the way, that was like the we're taking houses, we're evolving them into something else. It was just a sort of catchy name.
And have you stuck with the buy to flip side? Or have you been doing other stuff in between?
We've changed, so that was where we were like, right, we're in a position now where we've got this pot of our own cash and investor cash when we need it. Let's go and chase the top goal, which is to start building a portfolio and building cash flow. And that's, in the last 2 years, that's what we've been really focusing on. And we've been focusing on a model called BRR, buy, refurbish, refinance.
Yeah.
How many R's do you stick on the end? I mean, I find it simple to just go with buy, refurbish, refinance,
and then rent, right?
And then rent. I see the rent like chopped around where the rent goes.
It doesn't matter. Well, I get the gist of what you're trying to say. And we've actually done a similar video with another one of our episodes where we've discussed, guys, the BRR strategy, the BRRR strategy, which is good. And I'm good to see that it's in play. So tell me a little bit about how many units you've done, or what kind of units you've done, and if you're going for flats or houses, or what kind of strategy. I know you're going for strategy.
We've done one that's cash flowing at the moment, but it's a service accommodation model. So we took a place. It was a little place just behind Brighton Marina. Nice. So we were looking on the south coast, places that would like let out on Airbnb.
Sea views.
We used a thing called Air DNA to kind of get a bit of an idea of what it might.
I did a background research. Air DNA had a little look
of an idea. I mean, it takes an average of like 5 similar properties, and it has all the data of what they've done.
Really?
So we used that, and then we started to look at, like, Brighton's got a hard property market because the prices are quite high, but we managed to get a 3-bedroom house for about 400 grand.
Okay.
And then I think, again, we spent about 140 on the refurb, but we did like a loft conversion, back extension, turned it into a sort of like luxury holiday home with sea views.
Yeah. So it added quite a lot of value to it.
Yeah.
Got that refinance at about 750.
Yeah, 750 we got that.
So you bought it for 400 and you spent 140, did you say? So you're at 540.
That included the furniture kit out, that 140, like to furnish it.
So really that's fine, because what kind do you put? 25% deposit, I'm assuming, yeah? Yeah, so you've got your money back, so you're recycling the pot that you built.
Yeah, and the challenging part is like when you're in like the southeast where we're playing, obviously, yeah, you can get those massive equity gains, which is great. But then when you refinance, when mortgage, you're putting a massive mortgage on it, right? So we're putting a £500,000 mortgage on that house, and obviously mortgage costs are really high.
Oh, another question I wanted to ask you actually, based on this mortgage thing, how long did you guys fix in for? Was it 2, 3, or 5?
5, because we got in. Yeah, just as it was, we got like 3% ish, like on a buy to let. Like
that's very good. That's very now considering that we're at 5.5%. You know, you're saving. It's pretty much gone double.
Yeah.
And yesterday, obviously, went up by another 0.25%. I mean, what's that all about? You know, and I think we're going to have another rise to reach up to the 5.
The UK seems to be in a worse position to everyone else as well, which is not ideal. But yeah, so that if you refinance, even with the 3%, like our mortgage repayments like £1,800 a month, right? And then you've got to cover like bills, council tax, agency fees,
feeding fees. You know, it's a high cost model, but it's
the
high
return is
revenue as
high.
well. So and we've only led it since November last year, so we haven't done the peak season, but it's consistently.
And that's coming up soon, so hopefully you can reap the rewards from that.
Nightly rate changes a lot, you know, almost doubles. So
are you still profitable at the moment?
Yeah, we've been profitable for the whole time. So we thought we'd probably be taking a hit in the winter, and then we make that back in the summer. But it's been making a small profit in the winter, and then it should be a larger profit.
Brilliant. At least there's a profit there. Some people are happy to break even in the winter months, but profitable, always happy, putting some money in, you're getting cash flow, building the cash flow, and then hopefully in the summer you can double, triple, even quadruple that. That would be the best ideal situation. So how many have you got on this model at the moment, or is it just the one?
Just the one in Brighton. We bought a place last year that we've just got planning permission to split into 2 units.
Brilliant.
So it's
along the coast.
Yeah, along the coast, a bit more towards Worthing.
Okay.
Smaller town, and it was like a big beach bungalow, really.
Right, I see.
Split on 3 levels, but it was like 10 meters by 10 meters.
You'll turn into beach bum soon before you know it. You'll buy all these by the seaside.
We would like to use it as a holiday home.
Why not? Right, well, if it's only a short let, when the summer comes, if you're not booked out for those couple of days, down there, especially you with the little one, that'd be lovely. I might book a couple nights with you guys as well. Mates rates though, yeah?
Yeah, we'll say
but yeah, we've just got planning to split that into 2 units. So we're starting the demo on Monday. So that's kind of
bring the whole thing down.
Pretty much, yeah, and then building it back up.
Nice. And what is it at the moment? Sorry,
so it's just a
3-bed bungalow.
Yeah, like a really large 3-bed bungalow.
It's not. It's a weird
chalet bungalow.
There's 3 stories from the back, and from the front it's only 2 stories.
It's weird. It's built in an old seawall, so you have to see it.
Yeah, it's kind of really. Check out the.
But yeah, there's going to be a lot of progress on that coming up.
And you're starting the demo now, you saying, yeah?
Monday.
Are you guys doing it, or are you hiring people into
We're getting people in. For speed, really, we don't want to be too hands-on with it.
We haven't done much on the last project. Like the amount we're doing, we ultimately slow it down, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's no problem.
So it's a business for you at the end of the day. Obviously, at the beginning, you was doing it because money was tight. You're trying to get the experience and know what to do. But now you can just manage the projects and make sure they're meeting the milestones that they need to reach.
Yeah.
And obviously try and keep the cost down as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much where we're at.
This one that Ant just talked through in Lancing, it's kind of like that the BRR model. Like what we've kind of learned is like the more size and space that you can add to a place, the better that works, right? Because doing a light refurb isn't going to add those massive equity gains. But what we're doing on this one is we're basically like hip to gable, putting the roof up with like 4 new dormers on it. So making that basically a big top floor.
So is it going to still be 3 stories?
It's going to be 3 stories, but where that last one was, currently the top one's just like a little room in the attic, but we're making that into like 2 bedrooms that side, a living space that side, with balconies overlooking the sea.
Nice.
So yeah, by adding that extra size and by splitting the title down the middle, still TBC what the equity gains are, but this is ultimately the biggest project.
Could be a game changer, like how the detached one changed everything around for you. This could hopefully take you to the next level.
Yeah,
sounds good. How long do you think that project's going to take you guys? Have you got a plan set out? 3 to 6 months?
No, I reckon it's probably going to be 6 to 9.
Well, no, it needs to be done in 6.
Oh, it needs to be done in 6. So it's not going to be 6
Don't
to 9.
push it out to 9.
But that's an interesting point. So one of the one of the like drawbacks, one of the challenges or hurdles on this project has been the planning. So we bought this on a bridge. We did mention, but these last few projects we've done, or these last 2 projects, have been bridging loans. Brighton was fine because it was like we got a 12-month bridging loan. It was done in like largely 6 months.
It's all committed development.
Developments.
But now you're getting the planning yourself.
And we had 12-month bridging finance, and we were stuck.
At what percent? 1, 2?
No, it's about 0.7 something.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
And it took us 8 months of that 12 to get planning.
Okay.
We thought it'd be like 3.
Yeah, but the council were extremely slow, and then you chase them, and they're like, "Oh, we're backlogged, we're busy," and there's all the excuses under the sun, unfortunately.
The big learning we had here is we've never done a project this close to the seafront. We're about 50 meters back from the sea.
Okay.
And we got stuck in this back and forth with the Environment Agency around like flood risk, flood levels in 100 years' time.
Climate change,
and it was, and you'd send them an email, and they'd take a week to get back.
Yeah, and they do one thing at a time. They don't tell you like a whole list of things. They say, "Oh, this is this," and you sort of try and resolve that issue. But then before you know it, 2 weeks have gone by because they're sending one email, and then they raise something else. I bet.
Yeah,
literally
that for months.
Yeah,
but we've ended up having to like we were going to either refinance to a new bridge, which is going to be quite high cost, but we've managed to get our bridging lender to extend the term enough to...
That's kind of them, because, you know, the bridging firms don't usually like to extend.
We got lucky with that.
Yeah. Have you got a charge on the place as well with the bridging firm, or how have you worked it out?
Yeah, they've got like, it's like saying there's a mortgage, they've got like a first charge on it, yeah. So like ultimately this is the extension. We're all set up and ready to go now though, right? We've got pretty much everything.
All the trades are lined up. We're just,
So you're ready to go once planning comes through, just straight in. Obviously, you're starting demo anyway. So it's all been approved, I'm assuming.
Pre-conditions is done. We've got like Ant said, the people lined up, and we've got all the like architectural drawings and structural packs are kind of like ready to go. So it's just
you've got a project manager on it, or is that what you guys are going to be doing? Your project manager. That will save a cost there for you as well. Yeah. But what are you hoping to achieve as your profit margin in this?
Well, we're going to refinance it on the back end because we want to do the same model. But what we learned at Brighton is we want to probably keep the mortgage as low as we can to try and improve.
So you're not going to take it all. You're not going to take it all out.
Like maybe take more in a few years when the mortgages.
You just take a little bit out so you can do another project maybe.
No, but I mean, I think total project costs are probably going to be about, including the purchase, about 750k.
Okay.
But each unit might be worth 550 to 650.
So you're looking about 300 odd roughly in total. And take out maybe 150 to go again. Yeah. That way you've got some build.
Then we've got investors' funds that we can reuse and stuff to keep going.
We want to get some HMOs next, don't we?
Yeah.
In the same kind of areas?
Yeah, I think anywhere.
Or student accommodation again?
Maybe. The area we're playing in is like Brighton, ultimately like Brighton to Littlehampton, because where we're from, Horsham is in it. It allows you to get to any one of those places in like 40 minutes, really, 45 minutes. So yeah, if we can wherever the best place to build a few HMOs in that
more professional HMOs.
Yeah, so you don't go through that bad thing about getting it trashed again. But again, now this time around, rather than giving it to a company, maybe to give it a group of friends. Yeah. You know, have one agreement in place where the friends take it on. They have their parents as guarantors, take some deposits, five weeks deposits out of them. Yeah. Because when people tend to have guarantors, they tend to sort of not want to trash the place and look after it a bit more, because their parents will be onto them, or you know, you can go to them and be like, look, they've trashed it, we're taking deposit, but we don't want to take you to court. It's going to cost us X amount of money. No, so let's settle it, gentlemen, kind of thing. Sounds really good, guys. Your journey has been a little bit of a roller coaster from the beginning, but profitable, which is always great. Yeah. And I love that you're pushing your boundaries, and you're literally going like you're taking it. You're not sort of staying and taking little steps. You're sort of taking it to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, and hopefully next time we speak, we'll be doing like blocks of apartments or a couple of new builds and stuff like that. So that's good. Where do you want to take it to next? I know you said you want to have the cash flow and stop your day job type thing, and in the long term, and have the cash flow running through and subsidizing your lifestyle. But what kind of projects do you want to be moving towards? I know the BRR strategy is great for you guys, but do you want to be doing like HMOs, or do you want to be doing these holiday lets, or what? How do you want to build your portfolio?
I would say that we want to have a diverse portfolio, so like a combination of like a few service accommodation where it makes sense to, where they're profitable, HMOs to have that like more consistent monthly revenue, because obviously service accommodation is really seasonal, right?
Yes.
And then also we live in a good place for flips as well. So we want to keep build when the pot gets low, rebuild the pot with flips, because you know around the Horsham area it's just the rental model's not as strong, but the flip model's really good. So it's kind of like rental model on the south coast, flips locally. And then like we're looking at like some JV partners and stuff in other areas.
Yeah, we got some guys we're thinking about working with who are over in Bristol.
That's it.
Who are sort of coming to us with deals and what.
And they've got proven track records themselves as well, already doing it.
Yeah.
And are there people that you know, or again network to net them that way?
Yeah, like interesting like journeys of sort of. One of the guys is a mate that I actually met him I went skiing and he was working behind the bar at one of the and he's just got he's got a really entrepreneurial mindset, and he's just taking it from strength to strength, and they're in a not dissimilar position to us now. So
it's always grows. It's good to grow with a like-minded individual as well. Because you can it's relatable, you know, at the end of the day, and you're on the same page because you know what your end goal is, you know where you want to get to, and you have to be on the same page. If you're not on the same page, then you're sort of going to end up crashing and burning, unfortunately. Guys, look, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure to have you both.
You're welcome.
Nice one. And guys, thank you for tuning in and watching. I'll put all the information for the chaps in the description below. As I said, get following for them as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.